What if the world we live in, the reality we experience every day, is only a fraction of the true existence that awaits us? Could there be an entirely different level of consciousness where our thoughts, emotions, and experiences are shaped by higher frequencies of love, gratitude, and unity? This is the essence of the journey toward the fifth dimension, fived, a state of being that goes beyond the physical and material to embrace a higher state of awareness and connection. As humanity and the earth move through a process known as ascension, more people are beginning to feel the subtle shifts in their own consciousness. The transition from threed to fived consciousness is not merely a change in location or environment, but a deep spiritual awakening that requires self-awareness, emotional release, and a willingness to step into a higher vibrational reality. But what exactly is this transition, and how can we prepare ourselves for it? In this video, we will explore the key themes and concepts behind the shift to the fifth dimension, including the differences between threed, foured, and fived realities, the signs that we are undergoing this transformation, and the practical steps we can take to embrace this new state of being. By the end of this video, you will have a deeper understanding of what it means to ascend to fived consciousness and how you can align yourself with this spiritual evolution. The fifth dimension, a state of consciousness, not a physical place. Before we dive into the transition itself, it's important to understand what the fifth dimension, fived, truly represents. Contrary to popular belief, fived is not a physical place or a location that we can travel to like a distant planet. Rather, it is a state of consciousness, a higher vibrational frequency that transcends the limitations of the physical world. We are confined to a reality based on time, space, and material limitations. Our perception of reality is often dominated by the physical senses, and we tend to focus on survival, accumulation, and ego-driven desires. This level of consciousness is characterized by duality, good versus bad, right versus wrong, and a linear understanding of time, where events happen in a predictable cause and effect manner. However, fived is a radically different experience. It is a reality where the ego is diminished, and love, compassion, and unity take center stage. In the fifth dimension, time is no longer linear and space becomes fluid. Our perception of reality expands, and we begin to understand that everything, every thought, feeling, and object is energy vibrating at different frequencies. To shift to fived involves transcending the limitations of the threed world and aligning with a higher frequency that connects us to everything around us. But how do we make this transition? How do we move from the constraints of the threed world into the expansive freedom of fived consciousness? Let's explore the process of ascension and the steps required to facilitate this shift. The transition to fived consciousness. Ascension, the process of ascension, refers to the spiritual evolution of humanity and the earth, where we are collectively moving from the dense, limited threed consciousness into the higher frequencies of fived. This shift is not just an intellectual or philosophical change. It is a profound, energetic transformation that affects every aspect of our being, from our thoughts and emotions to our physical bodies and the environment we inhabit. It is a gradual process that requires conscious effort. It involves releasing old patterns, beliefs, and emotions that no longer serve us and stepping into a new way of being. The journey to fived is about awakening to our true nature and aligning with the higher frequencies of love, peace, and unity. But why does this transition require such effort? What is it about our current state of consciousness that makes this shift so challenging? In threed, we are deeply attached to our egos, our identities, and our material possessions. We are conditioned by society to seek validation, success, and control. This attachment to the material world creates a dense energy that limits our ability to access higher states of consciousness. The process of ascension requires us to let go of these attachments and embrace a more fluid, expansive reality. It requires us to release the emotional baggage that weighs us down and to cultivate self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and spiritual growth. As we progress through the stages of ascension, we begin to unlearn the limitations of the 3D world and start to perceive the deeper interconnected nature of reality. This transition from 3D to 5D is not instantaneous, but occurs in stages, moving through the 4D, which acts as a bridge between the two states of consciousness, between 3D, 4D, and 5D. Understanding the levels of consciousness to understand the transition to 5D, it's helpful to break down the differences between the three main states of consciousness, 3D, 4D, and 5D. These stages represent different levels of awareness and vibrational frequency, each one offering a unique perspective on reality. 3D, the world of duality and limitations. The 3D world is the reality that most people experience on a daily basis. It is characterized by duality. Opposites such as light and dark, good and bad, right and wrong. In 3D, we tend to view the world through a lens of separation, where we see ourselves as distinct and separate from others and from the universe. Time is linear, and events unfold in a predictable cause and effect manner. Emotions in the 3D world are often dense and reactive, driven by the ego and influenced by external circumstances. In this state of consciousness, we are focused on survival, material gain, and personal achievement. Our sense of self is tied to our external achievements, and we are conditioned to seek validation through success, possessions, and social status. This creates a limited and often stressful existence, where we are constantly chasing external goals without fully understanding the deeper meaning of life. 4D. The transitional bridge 4D represents a transitional phase between the 3D and 5D states of consciousness. It is a bridge where individuals begin to unlearn the limitations of the 3D world and open themselves up to new ways of perceiving reality. In 4D, we start to expand our awareness and develop a deeper understanding of the energetic nature of existence. This is the phase where many people begin to awaken spiritually. There is an increased awareness of hidden patterns, both within ourselves and in the world around us. Emotional healing becomes a central theme as we begin to confront and release old wounds, traumas, and limiting beliefs. 4D is a time of awakening, where we become aware of the interconnectedness of all beings and start to move beyond the limitations of the ego. In 4D, we also start to experience the early stages of psychic abilities, such as intuition, clairvoyance, and telepathy. This stage serves as a preparation for the full expansion of consciousness that occurs in 5D, the high-frequency state of love, unity, and spiritual awareness. The fifth dimension is a state of consciousness defined by high-frequency emotions, such as love, compassion. 5D, time becomes non-linear, and the concept of separation fades away. There is a deep sense of unity with all beings and a profound understanding that everything is interconnected. In 5D, the ego is no longer the driving force behind our decisions. Instead, we are guided by intuition, soul alignment, and a deep connection to our higher selves. This allows for a more harmonious and peaceful existence, where we no longer feel the need to compete or judge others. In this state of consciousness, we experience a greater sense of freedom, creativity, and spiritual awareness. Our psychic abilities are heightened, and manifestation becomes more immediate as we align with the higher frequencies of love and light. Signs of transitioning to 5D consciousness. As we begin to move through the process of ascension, we may begin to notice signs that we are transitioning to 5D consciousness. These signs indicate that we are aligning with higher frequencies and releasing the limitations of the 3D world. Some of the key signs of this transition include: 1. Perception of everything as energy. We begin to recognize that all matter, emotions, and experiences are simply energy vibrating at different frequencies. This awareness opens us up to a deeper understanding of the interconnectedness of all things. 2. Removal of toxins. We feel a natural urge to eliminate toxic people, thoughts, and substances from our lives. This is a reflection of our desire to match the higher vibrational frequencies of 5D. 3. Ego reduction. We become less affected by praise or criticism. and our sense of self is no longer tied to external validation. We begin to detach from the ego and embrace a more authentic, soul-driven existence. 4. Non-judgment. We move beyond duality and stop categorizing people or experiences as good or bad. Instead, we approach the world with neutrality and acceptance. Connection with nature. We feel a deep sense of connection with the natural world and animals. Nature becomes a source of peace and healing. 6. Heightened psychic abilities. Our intuition becomes sharper, and we begin to receive spiritual guidance in more direct and powerful ways. Faster manifestation. As we align with higher frequencies, our desires begin to manifest more quickly, and we experience a greater sense of abundance and fulfillment. Practical steps for transitioning to 5D consciousness. While the transition to 5D consciousness is a natural and organic process, there are practical steps we can take to facilitate this shift. These steps include letting go of harmful emotions. Releasing anger, resentment, and fear helps to elevate our consciousness and align us with higher frequencies. Practicing forgiveness. Forgiveness frees us from emotional burdens and helps to heal past wounds, allowing us to move forward with greater peace and clarity. Cultivating gratitude and humility. Embracing gratitude for all experiences and remaining humble in our journey helps to open our hearts to higher consciousness. Self-knowledge and meditation. Through self-reflection and meditation, we can connect with our higher selves and align with the divine wisdom that guides us on our path. Spiritual evolution and the role of collective consciousness. The shift to 5D is not just an individual process, but a collective one. The entire planet is undergoing this transformation, with higher dimensional beings and lightworkers supporting humanity's ascension. As more individuals awaken to the higher frequencies of 5D, the collective consciousness of humanity shifts, creating a ripple effect that impacts the entire Earth. This evolution is not just about personal growth, but about contributing to the greater good of all beings. As we ascend to higher states of consciousness, we become more attuned to the needs of others and the planet. We realize that our actions, thoughts, and energy affect the world around us, and we take responsibility for creating a positive and harmonious reality for all.